Vickers, another video tutorial coming at you. This is a little gift that I made for Club, and I wanted to show the project so that the ladies can go home and make them themselves, because they oohed and awed over it, so I think they liked it. It was our last session for this round of Club, and I wanted to give a little thank you. So in the in colors, or some of the in colors, I had some watermelon as well, but those ones are all gone. I made these little thank you boxes, and they're self-closing thank you boxes. And I found nuggets. They're a rare find. I've never been able to find these easily in Halifax. So finding the Hershey nuggets at Shoppers Drug Mart, little packages, but still some nuggets. Love them. There's so many boxes and little bags and stuff that are meant for them. I really liked finding them. That was such a good find. And so that's what I put in the little self-closing box. Stamped it with papillon potpourri, and we had some thank yous as well. So let's get started, and I'm going to show you how to make the bottom of the box, and then you can decorate it as you wish. So like I said, I stamped with the papillon potpourri, and then this thank you is from another thank you. So those are the two stamp sets that I used. And for the mint macaron, I used the mint macaron ink. For cucumber, same thing. They're all monochromatic. And then that is the decorative label punch. And I'll put all of the listing of all the supplies I used on the blog post so you can see that. And there's the thank you with the little hearts that we used there. So what I'm going to do, what I did at first with these guys, as I stamped all the butterflies all over them before I scored, before I did anything else. So this video, I'm just going to show you the basics. So let me get this out of the way. And we have a piece of cardstock that is 6.5 by 4.5. So that's your base. And on the short side first, you're going to score at 7/8 and 3 5/8. 7/8 and 3 5/8. And you'll see that leaves you with the same amount on either side. You're going to flip that, and then on the long side, you're going to score, and you'll see my scores are pointed up for this one, at 3 and 6. Okay. So I'm going to flip. And I've got two other markers here at 1.5 and 4.5. So what you want, my mistake, we're going to leave it there at 3 and 6. Your short side, when you score at 6, should be on your right hand side. You should have a longer rectangle, a score line at 3, and then a longer rectangle. When you go to score at the 1.5 and the 4.5, they should be in the middle of these two larger rectangles. I hope that makes sense. Because if I flipped this and my little score edge was on this side and I scored at 1.5, it wouldn't be in the center. It would be over here. Okay? So you're going to score at 7/8, 3 and 5/8. You're going to flip, and you're going to score at 3, and you're going to score at 6. You're going to leave your piece of paper here because your 1.5 mark should be right in the center of your rectangle, and your 4.5 mark should as well. And what you're going to do when you score these is you're only going to the first score line. So it's a short score. Okay? Easy enough. You should be able to see that. So you've got short scores up top, and then the longer scores across. Okay. Let's get, I need the tool, but I'm going to get rid of the board. And I'm going to bring back my pad. And you'll see why in a second. Okay. You can mark this if you want to. I'm going to mark it with a pen for the video so you can see. Those short score lines at 1.5 and 4.5, I'm just going to make a dot here and a dot here. You don't have to mark these when you're doing these at home. This is just for the first visual. And then right where my score lines meet, I've got a vertical and a horizontal score line. Right when they meet, I'm going to put a dot, and I'm going to do the same over here. Okay? I'm going to make a little notch or a little bit of a dot on this side too. Okay? So you'll see that you've got some triangles or some mountains happening here. What you're going to do is you're going to pull in your ruler, And I'm using a pad of paper so that it has some give to it, so I can do a score. You could do this on your piercing pad as well. You're going to line up your dots and score. Line up your dots the other way and score. So now you see putting the peaks in there. Line up your dots and score. Line up your dots and score. See that? Easy peasy. Now we need our scissors. And on this edge, I've got 2 large rectangles. You see that there? This score line right down the center, I'm going to cut right down the center. On this edge, I'm going to get rid of this little rectangle, but instead of cutting straight in, I'm going to cut on an angle here so that this flap, when it becomes your closure, doesn't poke out. Okay? And I'm going to do the same on this side of my small score. I'm going to go on an angle first, and then I'm going to cut straight in. So that small score line that you had is just going to become the flap. Okay? And that is the flap that's going to close the box. Okay. These are your 2 top flaps. That's going to be your closure at the top. Okay. I'm going to trim this a little bit because I went on one side of my score line. You might not have to. It's completely up to you. So now on this side I've got 4 rectangles. So I'm going to come to this side. I am going to snip these off a little bit so that they're angled as well. So I'm going to do a little rectangle here, or a little triangle, sorry. You do not have to do this. You can snip right down the score lines if you want. It's completely up to you. I like the look of that on a box a little better, so that's why I do it. Then there's no overlap and they're easy to fold. So you've got 4 pieces for your bottom, 2 pieces for your top, your flap to close it, and this is going to give you your dimension on your box. So let's fold. We've got our tab here. These are going to be our 4 bottom tabs. And then when you go to fold this, you're going to fold all the lines. So there's your flap line, and then you're going to do the angled lines, straight lines, angled lines. See that? They're pretty easy to fold, even though they were done on a pad of paper. They're very easy to fold. So you can see the dimension coming in. I'm going to want adhesive on this side. I'm going to use some fast fuse. Like I said in my other video, the humidity is getting to my fuse. The adhesive strip does not want to break, even when I do my little L shape. This is a perfectly symmetrical box, so once you've got your adhesive here, I should be able to fold this over, and then right in the middle score line, I should be able to fold that right over to close it. I love boxes like that. These score lines, the big rectangles, do not fold them. Leave them just as they are. You've got your angled lines, and then you've got your 4 flaps. And then what I want to do is I want to fold my flaps down. This is my last guy, so I am going to use some fuse on this. So it doesn't matter which way you do it. Just make sure your bottom ends up being a square. So just align it so that your bottom ends up being a square. I'm going to open the box, put this down, and I'm going to use my ruler and just press down the bottom flaps of the box. Okay, so there's my bottom. Your angles are really starting to show. And there's your closure. So you can see how this stays nice and closed. And then you can just pop your finger in there to open it. Put any candy, and then pop it closed. How cool is that? There's the little box there. So I stamped before I did any of my scoring so that my images were nice and crisp. And put a greeting on there. You could tie this band up top with a ribbon if you wanted to. Do a little belly band that slides on and off. Possibilities are endless, but this is how you make little diamond shaped box. I'm not even sure what to call it, a faceted box, self-closing box. I could go on and on. This is what I made for the ladies from club. And I did this off of a swap that I got at the East Coast Stampin' event in June. This is a much bigger version. And I even got one at convention that's even smaller than this one. So my goal is, you have this video, my goal is to get the videos done for the larger and the smaller versions as well. Butterflies on this one, little bow on that one. How cute is that? So look out for those videos as well. But here is the medium-sized self-closing box for candy or anything. A little pair of earrings in there, a little lip gloss. Like, it could be anything. It could be anything. Enjoy. Happy stamping.